Path of Exile 3.2.0 Bestiary League patch notes. Oh my god, let's go! Alright, so, the Bestiary Challenge League. Challenge Leagues are a great opportunity for a fresh start in a new economy. All of your old characters are still present in the standard and hardcore leagues, but you're encouraged to join the new leagues, complete challenges, and demonstrate your mastery of Path of Exile. With 3.2, there are standard and hardcore, solo self-found, standard, and hardcore variations of the Challenge League available. They have the same core mechanics and the same items. Alright, so Bestiary lets you hunt and capture hundreds of deadly beasts across Ray class, and then craft valuable new items with the help of the NPC Iron Half Ray. To capture a monster, highlight it and press V to throw a net. If a capture fails, the beast will enrage and become more dangerous. The lower life a beast has, the easier it is to capture. Nets can be found in the world, or purchased from Ironheart. Better nets make capturing harder beasts easier. Once captured, each beast is then tracked in your very own bestiary, a tome full of information and pictures, like a Pokedex. Feels good, man. Each captured beast is kept in your menagerie, which you can visit by talking to Einhar once enough beasts have been captured. You can use the blood altar in your menagerie to perform beast crafting, sacrificing your captured beasts in combat to create and augment items. There are some very strong beast crafting recipes available, so we recommend capturing most rare beasts that you encounter. You can also hunt for elusive spirit beasts, oh my god, who drop pieces of 4 new unique set items. Set items, yeah, called it. If you somehow manage to capture one, these spirit beasts can be used in beast crafting. The new Challenge League includes a set of 40 new challenges. When you complete 12 challenges, you will receive a Bestiary helmet. At 24, you will receive Bestiary wings, and when you complete your 36th challenge, you will receive the Bestiary portal effect. I think that's the green one. It looks so cool. These microtransactions are only obtainable in this league, so get them before they're gone. From the 19th challenge onwards, for every 3rd challenge after that, you will receive pieces of a totem decoration to display in your hideout. The totem pole permanently showcases how many of the Bestiary challenges you've completed during the league. Alright, this is the exciting part, anyway. Major new content and features. Added 2 new active skill gems and 1 new support gem. New dexterity and strength skill gem, Spectral Shield Throw. Throws a spectral copy of your shield as a projectile which cannot pierce, and deals offhand damage augmented by the defenses of the shield. When it collides with something, it will shatter, launching a number of smaller shards as projectiles in all directions. Modifiers that cause additional projectiles to be fired will add more shards, not copies of the shield. Added a new strength skill gem, Tectonic Slam. Slam the ground with your weapon, unleashing a fiery fissure in front of you, kind of like Sunder, dealing area damage and releasing a random number of smaller fissures branching off from it. If you have endurance charges, 1 will be consumed, maximizing the number of fissures. Oh, okay, so it's not like all of them will be consumed, just 1. That's pretty good then. Okay, requires a mace, sword, axe, staff, or unarmed. That's not bad. Unarmed would be kind of cool with face breakers or something. Anyway, added a new support gem, Summon Phantasm on Kill. Causes supported skills or minions created by supported skills to summon a Phantasm minion on landing a killing blow. I think we worked out before that these couldn't like perpetuate themselves, so that's unlucky, but that would be OP if they could. Anyway, added Abyss to the core game. For information on changes made to Abysses and related features, see the Abyss section below. Okay. Introduced the final Elder encounter. This endgame encounter is the single most difficult challenge in Path of Exile currently has to offer. Good luck. I don't think many people will do it, to be honest. It's pretty insane. Added the Elder Orb after collecting all of the Shaper's memory fragments. The Elder Orb can upgrade any map on your Atlas to tier 16, which is like actually insane. Like, oh my god. Anyway, added 27 new unique items. 16 of which are exclusive to the Bestiary Challenge League. Added 27 new fated unique prophecies. That's pretty good too. Added a new quest, Valenta's Vengeance. Valenta has sided with Kitava and must be dealt with. Seek her out in Act 10 and defeat her for a skill point. Existing characters who have completed the prerequisite quest, mapped to Soatha, will already have the skill point and can instead collect the new reward for the tier of Soatha quest. Okay, so we're not getting an extra skill point. I wish we were though, that would be really nice. Anyway, added a new Act 10 area, the control blocks. Could this be where Valenta has been hiding out this whole time? I'm pretty sure it is, like, let's be honest. Why would you say that otherwise? Anyway, added 10 new divination cards designed by our supporters. Enabled that rogue exile we said we added last time, but this time we really mean it, or do we? Dun dun dun! Added 2-ish new vendor recipes. 2-ish new vendor recipes? What? Okay, alright. Added 6 new Grandmasters and updated or replaced 5 others. Oh, feels bad for those 5 that got replaced, rip. Anyway, minor new content and features. The Witch can now select lesser poison support as a quest reward upon reaching Lionized Watch. The Shadow is no longer offered lesser poison support as a quest reward for reaching Lionized Watch, since she should already have it, and is offered elemental proliferation instead. Oh, that's fair enough. Oh yeah, because you get it in that little box on the Twilight Strand when you, like, the first support gem you pick up anyway. Okay, anyway, unique items dropped by bosses in special areas such as the Apex of Sacrifice, the Shaper's Realm, and Breach Domains are now allocated to the area's creator. This also applies to blessings dropped by Breach Lords. That's really good because, like, yeah, it's just gonna prevent people from, like, farming, doing, what's it called? What do they call it? I don't know, never mind. Anyway. Added 3D art for Debian's Dirge. Characters deleted during an event, such as a race, are no longer removed from the ladder and can still be awarded prizes. Made improvements to Zana's Atlas questline, in particular to the sequences featuring the Shaper and Elder. Completing Zana's Atlas quest now completing Zana's Atlas quest now grants Zana experience. It's easier to reach level 8 with her now. That's really cool, because that's going to be really nice for SSF. Because I hope it's to the point where you don't have to actually, like, do rotations and stuff anymore. But I think you still would, to be honest. But who knows? Maybe it's a lot easier. We'll see anyway. When you use your stash, the in-game chest now opens. It's like you're really there. Oh my god! That's pretty cool, actually. I don't know why they would think after all these years to add that, but alright. The patcher now does significantly fewer rides during the allocating space part of the patching process. Okay, that's good. Doesn't take as long then, I'm guessing. Updated several vendor recipes to now output shaped or elder items if all the input items were also shaped or elder. Oh, that's really cool. Improved achievement checking functionality in cases where the achievement server couldn't be reached. Okay. Streamlined Zana's Take Shaper Orbs dialogue options. Now the option handles all available orbs. Okay. Added support for using Harbinger Orbs and Horizon Orbs on the most recent map series. Wow, that wasn't a thing before? That's really strange. Improved the appearance of metal throughout the game. Okay. That's cool. Graphical updates are always good too. More skills can now burn the grass. Okay. The Purifier has received new effects for its sword creating projectile skills. Glacial Cascade's effect now fades out rather than popping out. Okay, that's a nice little graphical increase. They didn't want to... I don't know, I wonder if they'll change it, like, balance-wise, because it's pretty OP in mines, let's be honest. Anyway. The Dancing Dervish now carries across any cosmetics effects applied to it when it's manifested. That's pretty sweet. I didn't realize that wasn't a thing. I've never used it, but so that's cool. Players with accounts created through Steam can now associate an email address to the account through the Path of Exile website. To do this, go to Manage Account, and then change email. Slightly improved performance in the Hall of Grandmasters. Less lag. Feels good, man. Improve the visibility on the atlas of uncompleted maps that are under the Elder's influence. Ah, yeah, I know what they're talking about. The map device in the Templar laboratory now has an awesome new effect. Cool. Many story glyphs, such as Malachi's letter to Shavron in the Warden's Chambers, have had their visuals updated to be slightly more eye-catching. Nice! DPS calculations now take whether or not a particular weapon will actually be used, such as when dual wielding, two different weapon types, one of which cannot be used by the skill you are using, into consideration. This doesn't change your actual damage at all, but does now provide a more accurate tooltip. Well, that's quite nice. Improve the way Sire of Shards works with weapon effects. Nice. Storm Barrier now clearly states that it does not support minion skills. Added new help panel pages, I'm assuming for the Bestiary stuff. Continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Nice. Alright. Abyss changes. Abyss has been rolled into the core game. You can now encounter abysses in the world from Part 2 onwards. Each area has approximately a 10% chance to spawn an abyss. Nice. Abyssal depths can now no longer appear in areas below level 70. Stygian Vice belts can now only be found by completing an abyssal depths area. The various abyssal jewel base types can now only be found from hordes in the abyssal depths, and abyssal troves from completing an abyss. You are less likely to find rare abyss jewels. Aw. That's fair enough though. They're pretty sweet. I like that they kept them core, to be honest. A new sextant mod has been added which grants an additional abyss. That's cool. Nice. Character balance. Player traps now explode at the end of their duration, triggering their skills. The exception to this are Bear Trap and Conversion Trap, which still break at the end of their duration. That's a nice little change. I want to say, like, I was hoping they would do some, like, trap cooldown reduction or something across the board, because they're really, like, annoying. Anyway, skill balance. The following trap skills have had their base duration lowered to 4 seconds from 16. Fire Trap, Ice Trap, Lightning Trap, Val Lightning Trap, Trap Support. Each of these traps will now trigger at the end of its duration. The following trap skills have had their base duration lowered to 8 seconds from 16. Bear Trap and Conversion Trap. Okay, so that's it. It seems like a nerf for those skills though, right? Like, I mean, I guess, but probably not. I don't think anyone would really notice it. Anyway, minion damage has been adjusted, and all minion types except Raging Spirits will now attack more quickly, but deal less base damage. This also fixes a long-standing issue we had where damage would only apply in part to most minions, so many minions will now also get up to 50% more damage from sources of added damage. Whoa, okay. Sources of increased attack speed for your minions will now be correctly multiplicative with their base attack speed. Nice. The slam skill used by raised zombies can no longer be evaded. That's massive. That's huge. Sweet. Volley and projectile novas now interact by creating projectile sources to either side of the player based on the number of projectiles, dividing those projectiles among those sources, then each of those sources firing in a nova. So if you've got volley on, like, wait, so if you've got EK Nova, right, say, and you've got volley, you're gonna have, like, I think it's +2 projectiles or something. So you've got like 1, 2, 3, and then each of those go off in a nova. That's insane if that's what it means. Damn. Shrapnel shot now converts 50% of physical damage to lightning damage, up from 40%. Okay, that's nice little. That makes it easier, I guess, to get 100% lightning. Herald of Ash now provides more spell fire damage and can trigger the overkill burn from spells. That's really great. That's it for skill balance? Surely not. Like, nerf Glacial Cascade a little bit. You know, Elemental Hit is like still a thing in the game, remember guys? Like, what? Poison, Ignite? Do some like, give them some damage? What? That's a bit. Okay, alright. Maybe they've, like, I don't know. That seems disappointing though, right? Like, anyway. Item balance. Many divination cards have had their drop weightings and locations adjusted. You should now find a better variety of cards throughout the areas introduced in the Fall of Oriath. Some maps which had several high value cards have had some of those cards move elsewhere. That's good, I think. It's like trying to reduce the amount of like farming one zone over and over again, I guess, if they've got lots of good cards. The Dying Anguish divination card can no longer reward gems with a maximum level lower than 20 or Val gems. Nice. Wait, no longer reward gems with a lower than 20. Okay, that's good. Skill gems which previously had the cast tag now have the spell tag. Skills which are spells but do not benefit from increases to spell damage now explicitly say so in the skill description. So like detonate dead and stuff. This has no impact on gameplay. Okay. Maybe they're trying to actually like make things make sense to people now. Anyway. Unique item balance. The Strange Barrel unique Strombox encounter has been reworked and still doesn't contain swarms of things, but if it did, those swarms would spawn more quickly. Okay. Shroud of the Lightness can no longer drop with 2 abyssal sockets. Projectiles from the Light Poacher's helmet triggered skill Spirit Burst no longer always pierce. They travel 50% slower, which also affects the distance they travel. Their base damage has been reduced by 25%. This affects all Light Poacher versions. I like that they've done this though, because it lets you use like fork and chain and stuff, so it's not like overly bad. Kinda like it. Zerfie's Last Breath now recovers life over 4 seconds instead of instantly, and now heals you for 450 to 600% of the mana cost, down from 800. Divining existing versions of Zerfie's Last Breath will set it to these values. Don't know why you would do that, like, you know, but okay. Ooh, Bisco's Collar, here we go. Now grants 35 to 50% increased quantity of items found in slain normal enemies, down from 50 to 100. That's a huge nerf. I'm kind of glad though, like, to be honest, it was just too mandatory, like, for mapping anyway. Existing versions will become legacy. Using a divine orb will set existing versions to the new values. We'll add this to the patch notes now. Doriani's Fist now clarifies that the added lightning damage specifically applies to unarmed attacks. Any attack with a hand that is not holding an item. Okay. It means that it will not apply to Spectral Shield Throw, as that skill uses a hand that has to be holding a shield. That's fair enough. Onigoroshi's drop chance has been adjusted, and by adjusted we mean lowered a lot. Okay. Sunblast no longer causes trap to trigger when they expire, and that is now a base property of almost all traps. So they just nerfed Sunblast. Seems like they could give it something else instead, but alright. Monster balance. The damage increase from a monster's rarity has been made multiplicative with other damage modifiers. This means, for example, that a map mod that increases a boss's damage will be significantly more noticeable. Damn, that's not what we want to hear. Most, but not all, sources of increased damage, such as specific monster or map mods, have had their values adjusted to compensate. Be careful when fighting unique monsters, especially in mod-heavy maps. The following monsters are no longer immune to taunt, though they may not retarget based on being taunted. This is primarily to enable the new Ascendancy passive skills in Champion. Okay. The Shaper, the Elder, Guardian of the Phoenix, Guardian, Hydra, Chimera, Eradicator, Enslaver, Purifier, and Constriction. Nice. So none of the Guardians and Shaper and Elder and stuff are immune to taunt anymore. That's pretty nice. That's good, actually. Malagara and his map equivalents, as well as Alira's map equivalents, now use new version of Detonate Dead, which explodes all corpses in an area after a delay. Okay. That's pretty cool, actually. I like that. Avarius Reassembled now has 20% more life. Yeah, that's true. He's quite easy. The Act 10 Avarius. Okay, anyway, the Onigoroshi version of Hillock has more life, deals more damage, and has learned a new trick. Okay, nice. Does he sit now? Like, he can roll over and beg? Anyway, female ghosts have been seen roaming the haunted hills of Oriath alongside their male counterparts. The damage and attack speed of the male ghost has been adjusted. Okay, so there's female ghosts now. That's cool. Dureso's spinning swords now play an effect when they appear and disappear, making it easier to see them. Nice, that's good. Katava's heart and the Elder, in his unstable phase, can no longer be slowed below their base speed. This was causing issues with animations playing out of sync with their actions. Piety now deals 33% less damage with her melee attack in Belly of the Beast. Her cleave damage has been slightly increased. Okay. Adjusted the cooldown on Grazing Taurus, Sunder-esque skill. I've never even seen that. Anyway, is now considered an attack rather than a spell for mitigation purposes. Nice. Behemoth, Shifting Darkness. Now better signals when he is using Val Detonate Dead skill. This skill now radiates outwards for a set distance rather than along all corpses connected to his target. Yeah, because that dude, like, I used to hate that, just getting one shot by that guy, like, out of nowhere. You'd be like, oh my god. Worst feeling. Mongrels found in Act 8 can now be desecrated. They've also been renamed to Ruin Hellions. Nice. The following monsters had their base life significantly increased. Chaos Golem, Arctic Golem, Ice Golem, Lesser Flame Golem, Lesser Ice Golem, and an Earthly Skeleton. Cool. Oh, they're not like... That's not our golems, that's the ones you find in the wild. Feels bad, man. Dominus and his map variants are now less likely to skip audio cues for Touch of God and the Light of the Divinity. Far out. I would mess that up. Anyway. The Elder encounter balance. Zana now appears to provide protection much closer to the Elder upon defeating it. It should be much harder to miss her now. Yeah, she's kind of off screen before. Like, you heard her, but you were like, where is she? Her dialogue is now shown in the chat window. The portal phase is now significantly shorter but more difficult. Great. Spawning more minions in a shorter period of time and using more skills. The minions spawned during this phase target the Shaper more aggressively. RIP. Elder's unstable phase is now more difficult and can drop more Elder items if successfully completed. This is now the only way to obtain the Watcher's Eye unique jewel. Okay. The Elder's expanding circles during his unstable phase now deal the same amount of damage as the ones in the earlier phase of the fight. This was an oversight. As a result, this skill deals 70% more damage than previously during the unstable phase. Holy crap. RIP. Don't get hit by that. The Elder's growing Doom Circle ability is now removed when Zana appears. That's good. Alright. Map and Atlas balance. There is now a limit to the number of sextants you can apply to your Atlas. The base maximum is 1, but this limit is increased by completing bonus objectives and Zana quests up to an absolute maximum of 5. That's so good! I'm so glad about that. Sextants were way too mandatory for too long, and I'm glad they put a cap on it. That's actually great. I'm just really happy with that. Adding sextants above this limit removes the oldest one. Okay. Existing atlases will keep their sextants, though applying new sextants will still remove the oldest one. Okay. You can see which map has the oldest sextant by hovering over the new sextant display on your atlas. Okay. You are now twice as likely to obtain maps you have not yet completed on the atlas as you have. Nice, that's good. This is intended to help players who choose to play solo complete the atlas. Okay. Nice. That's actually really good. I'm going to be playing SSF this league, which is going to be sweet. Made changes to how map selection occurs when choosing which maps contain the Elder and his Guardians. As a result of this change, it will be easier on average to encounter the Elder on higher tier maps. Cool. Maps that contain the Elder no longer contain additional monsters or provide Elder rare items for monsters other than the Elder. Maps that contain the Elder no longer contain additional monsters, that sucks, or provide Elder rare items from monsters other than the Elder. Oh, what? Okay, fair enough. The change in how monster rarity affects damage increases, see above. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Has resulted in changes to the Savage and Overlord's map prefixes, as well as the Death and Taxes map mods. These changes can be obtained on existing items by using a Divine Orb. Many of many maps have undergone monster density changes to bring them closer in line with each other. The Shaper's ultimate Chaos Bullet Hell skill now deals 70% less damage to minions. Cool, that's good. The boss in Death and Tax's unique map deals less damage with its melee attack, and should be significantly less likely to one-shot you after transforming. That's good. The treasure piles in the Vault map boss encounter and the boss itself now drop fewer items. The boss will also use skills that consume treasure piles slightly more often. On average, a Vault boss should now drop a quantity of items similar to other maps of the same tier, whereas previously it was significantly more. That's good. Like, farming that was a pain in the butt. Like, boring. Anyway, Peruna, the challenger, now signals when it is casting a skill more clearly. Okay. God, I'm really struggling to read. Anyway, the Enslaver Slam ability now deals more physical damage relative to fire damage and always applies Ignite. That's ouchies. Okay. The boss encounter in the Desert Spring map now has 2 unique Scorpion enemies during the pursuit phase of the encounter. The phase also has an Amorphous for players to bust open. Amphorus. I was like, what is that? What is that? A chest or something? Who knows? Defeating the boss now enables portals to into and out of this boss room. Oh yeah. Improve the layouts of the Scriptorium and Excavation map. There should be fewer dead ends and empty spaces now. That's good. The Armory map is now more linear and should contain fewer dead ends as well. Move monsters a little further away from the entry point of the Lookout maps. Decrease the size of the Barrows map. The vessel of the Val sub-bosses in the Aziri areas can no longer submerge immediately upon activating unless you are very far away. The Orchard map boss room has been redesigned and now has labyrinth traps in it, which the Vision of Justice will try to teleport you into. Uh-oh. The Orchard and Plaza map bosses now disable all the traps in their rooms when they die. Their magic packs have been moved to outside of the boss room. That's good. Grandmasters in the Hall of Grandmasters now generate 2 Val Souls per second, up from 1 Val Soul per 5 seconds. Wow, that's pretty big buff to them actually. Passive skill tree balance. The Acrobatics Keystone now grants 30% less energy shield, down from 50% less energy shield. This is to better enable hybrid energy shield / evasion characters for whom acrobatics should be a valid choice. That's so good, man. I actually really like that change. I never used to pick acro if you were doing energy shield like at all, or doing hybrid. So that's great. That's an awesome change. Passive skills which increase physical damage dealt by staves or wands, or damage dealt by wands, now also increase the damage of ailments caused by those weapons as well. This brings them in line with all other weapon passives. Yeah, that makes sense. Ascendancy Rebalance. Here we go. This is the juicy part. All 19 Ascendancies have been reviewed and undergone extensive changes. As a result of these changes, many existing Ascendancy and passive skill trees will be reset. Yeah, that's fair enough. The Assassin. Noxious Strike no longer grants a chance to cause bleeding or increase skill effect duration if you've killed a maimed enemy recently. It now grants 40% chance to poison on hit, 5% increased poison duration per poison applied recently, and 0.1 to critical strike chance per poison affecting the enemy, up to a maximum of 2%. That's really nice. That's hell good. Toxic Delivery now grants increased bleeding damage against maimed enemies. No longer grants. Okay. Instead, it now grants 20% of physical damage added as chaos damage against poisoned enemies. That's really good. It's like, what's that flask called? Unholy Might, kind of. That's great. I like it. Rather than bleeding. And recover 0.5 of your maximum life per poison affecting enemies you kill. Nice. That's recover, not regen, right? So that's pretty sweet. Can still use Vile Pact if you wanted to. Anyway, Ambush merged with Assassinate to create Ambush and Assassinate. Nice. Unstable Infusion now grants 20% chance to gain a power charge on non-critical strike, up from 10%. That's good. and 10% chance to gain a power charge on critical strike. Nice! Makes power charge generation easier. Awesome. Added a new notable, opportunistic. Grants 20% increased movement speed if you've killed recently. 100% increased damage while there is only one enemy nearby. Damage from your critical strikes cannot be reflected, and you take no extra damage from critical strikes while there is only one enemy nearby. Whoa, that's hell good. Wow, boss killer, by the way. Deadly infusion is unchanged. That's cool though. Oh my god. Alright. Shadow Trickster. Walk the Aether merged with Weave the Arcane. Nice. Weave the Arcane no longer grants 50% increased mana regenerate. Now grants 6% reduced damage taken for 4 seconds after spending 200 mana, down from 8%. Okay. Ghost Dance has been completely reworked. It now grants 40% increased attack and cast speed if energy shield recharge has started recently. 20% more chance to evade while on full energy shield. 10% chance to dodge attacks and spell damage while you have energy shield, and 10% increased movement speed while you have energy shield. That's really good. Damn. Shade form no longer exists and has been replaced by Escape Artists, which grants +5 to evasion rating per 1 maximum energy shield on helmet. +1 to maximum energy shield per 6 evasion rating on body armor. Whoa, that's massive. That right there? Like, you can get like 3k evasion on a shield. 500 flat ES for free, essentially? That's nuts, man. Whoa, okay. Cannot be stunned if you haven't been hit recently. That's nice too. And 8% reduced damage taken if you haven't been hit recently. Wow, that's pretty nice. That's like almost a mini Kintsugi kind of thing there. Added a new notable, Harness the Void. Grants your hits a 25% chance to gain 25% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage. 15% chance to gain 50% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage, and a 5% chance to gain 100% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage. That's actually insane. Like, that is so much damage. Holy crap. Damn, that's OP, dude. Added a new notable connected to Patient Reaper, Prolonged Pain. Grants 20% increased skill effect duration, 20% increased poison duration, 15% more damage over time, and 10% reduced damage taken from damage over time. Nice. Patient Reaper now increases damage over time by 50%, up from 30%, and causes you to recover 2% of your maximum life, 2% energy shield, and 4% maximum mana on kill. Nice. Swift Killer now grants 5% increased damage per frenzy charge and 5% increased damage per power charge rather than damage over time. So just flat damage. That's really good, actually. Trickster seems really freaking strong. Anyway, Saboteur, yes. Explosives Expert no longer grants 10% of physical damage as extra fire damage. It now grants 20% increased area of effect and 20% increased area damage. Nice, that's cool. Born in the Shadows no longer requires a blinding assault, since it doesn't exist anymore. No longer grants 50% increased blind duration. Now grants cannot be blinded, 10% reduced damage taken from blinded enemies, up from 6%, 25% chance to blind enemies on hit, and nearby enemies are blinded. Wow, I wonder how big the nearby enemies is, like, is it like on screen? Because that would be really great. That's so much like evasion. Anyway, Bomb Specialist. The small passive leading to the notable no longer grants 8% increased trap throwing speed. The notable no longer grants increased damage for each trap and increased area of effect for each mine. It also no longer grants a chance for traps to trigger an additional time. It now grants 20% increased mine laying speed if you've detonated mines recently, and 40% increased damage if you've detonated mines recently. That's cool. Demolitions Specialist. The small passive leading to the notable no longer grants 8% increased trap throwing speed. The notable no longer grants increased mine laying speed or mine damage if you've detonated mine recently. It now grants 8% increased area of effect for each mine. Okay, cool. Added a new notable, Perfect Crime, which grants 20% increased cooldown recovery speed for throwing traps, 8% increased damage for each trap, and 20% chance for traps to trigger an additional time. Okay, that's pretty good actually. Chain reaction no longer requires bomb specialist and instead requires perfect crime. Okay, so they've just changed the routing on it. Now grants 30% increased trap damage, up from 20%, and 30% increased cooldown recovery speed for throwing traps. That's really nice. Trap cooldown recovery speed is like amazing. But that's been nerfed, so that sucks. Anyway, added a new notable. Pyromaniac grants immunity to shock and ignite 1% of life regenerated per second for each of your mines detonated recently, up to 20%. Whoa, that's pretty nuts. 1% of life regenerated per second for each of your traps triggered recently, up to 20%, and 25% reduced mana cost of skills that lay mines or throw traps. Damn. Pathfinder, I bet it's been gutted. It's got like nothing, but I bet it's gutted. Nature's Boon now grants 3 flash charges every 3 seconds, up from 1 charge. Oh, it's been buffed. Now reduces elemental damage taken by 6%, down from 8%. So, tiny nerf, like substantial buff. That's pretty good. That's actually really nice. Raider. Quartz Infusion, small passive leading up to the notable, now grants 3% increased movement speed, down from 4. Avatar of the Veil, small passive, now grants 3% down from 4, same. Avatar of the Veil now increases movement speed by 10% while phasing, down by 20%. So there is a 12% movement speed loss there. Feels bad, man. I liked Raider. Rapid Assault now grants Onslaught for 10 seconds on kill, up from 4 seconds. And a 10% chance to gain Onslaught for 10 seconds when you hit a rare or unique enemy. That's really nice. You can maintain Onslaught on bosses. Avatar of the Chase now grants 25% more chance to evade projectile attacks during Onslaught, up from 15. Cool. Deadeye. Here we go, let's see what they've done to this. Rupture now grants 30 life gained on hit against bleeding enemies. That's quite nice. That's really nice, actually. Powerful Precision no longer causes attack projectiles to return to you. Instead, projectiles now pierce 3 additional targets. Nice. Ricochet now requires Fast Shot rather than Fast and Deadly. Change the routing again. Now grants 10% more damage with projectiles for each remaining chain. So, if you've got like 4 chains with the gem and say like, I don't know, you're using Magma Orb with like Gloomfang or whatever it is, and there's like 20 chains, that's a lot of damage. Holy crap. Fast Shot now grants 30% increased projectile speed. I'm assuming as well as Fast Shot. Fast and Deadly no longer grants 30% increased projectile speed, now doubles your accuracy rating and grants 100% increased blink and mirror arrow cooldown recovery speed. That's amazing. Added new notable called Gathering Winds. Grants the Tailwind aura to you and nearby allies. This aura grants 1,000 evasion, 10% increased action speed, and 10% increased effective Tailwind for each skill you've used recently, up to 100%. So, that is a more multiplier, because action speed benefits everything, and it's like it's a global more multiplier on attack, cast, movement speed, and anything else that has an animation. That is freaking nuts. That's so cool. Deadeye, like, that's actually like, that's like Pathfinder level of, like, that's sick. That's so good. Whew. Okay, Duelist Champion. Unstoppable Hero no longer grants increased armor and evasion rating while you have Fortify. Instead grants 1,000 armor and evasion rating while you have Fortify, and cannot be stunned while you have Fortify. The small passive leading to Unstoppable Hero now also increases ailment damage from attack skills while wielding a melee weapon. Nice. Fortitude. The small passive leading to Fortitude now also increases ailment damage from attack skills while wielding a melee weapon. Nice. More sources of ailment damage, I'm guessing. Like, that's the trend I'm starting to see here with that sort of stuff. Anyway. First to strike, last to fall. The small passive leading to first to strike, last to fall now grants 14% increased melee damage rather than 5% increased attack speed. First to strike, last to fall now also grants adrenaline for 20 seconds when you reach low life, or if you don't already have adrenaline. Okay. So, and removes ailments and burning when you gain adrenaline. Adrenaline grants 100% increased damage. Whoa, okay. 25% increased attack, cast speed as well, and movement speed, and 10% additional fizz damage reduction. So are people going to be making low life champions now? That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, Inspirational now grants you and nearby allies 12% increased movement speed, up from 8%. Conqueror now grants 100% chance to taunt on hit, up from 25%. 2% of life regenerated per second if you've taunted an enemy recently, up from 1%. And enemies taunted by you deal 10% less damage with hits and ailments against other targets. Worthy Foe no longer causes enemies taunted by you to deal 10% less damage with hits and ailments to other targets. Now prevents enemies taunted by you from evading attacks. Okay, so it's a damage multiplier rather. That's cool. That's nice. More beneficial to the player than his party, you know. Gladiator, Blood in the Eyes. Swap places with gratuitous violence. Oh, so Bleed Explosions is now a 4-pointer. No longer reduces damage taken from bleeding enemies by 6%. Now causes attacks to maim on hit against bleeding enemies, up from a 30% chance. So it's 100% chance now. That's nice. Enemies you maim take 10% increased physical damage and 10% chance to inflict blind on bleeding enemies you hit. Nice. Gratuitous Violence now requires Blood in the Eyes. Yeah, so as they said, swapped it around. Now grants 25% more damage with bleeding. Wow, that's really nice. Why did Assassin not get something like that for poison? I mean, I guess they kind of did, but... Painforge now causes your counterattacks to deal double damage. You also cannot be stunned by hits you blocked. Counterattack builds? New meta? Violent Retaliation no longer grants increased movement speed for each hit you've blocked recently. Now grants 8% increased physical damage for each hit you've blocked in the past 10 seconds, rather than recently. That's pretty nice actually. So you can just keep stacking up that damage, just get block chance up, and you're good to go. 80% increased physical damage if you've blocked a hit from a unique enemy in the past 10 seconds, rather than recently. Nice. 1% additional block chance for each hit you've blocked in the past 10 seconds, and now grants +4 to max block chance. Wow, so that's easy block cap right there. That's so easy block cap. Nice. Gladiator buffs, feels good. Slayer, I'm kind of expecting the leech to be nerfed or gone or something, but we'll see. Headsman, no longer reduced reflected physical damage taken by 50%. Instead, you cannot take reflected physical damage. Nice. Just remove it completely, why not? Now grants 20% increased area of effect, up from 15%. Nice. Location swapped with Bane of Legends. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Bane of Legends now requires that you take Headsman. Okay. Impact no longer penalizes the damage on enemies hit by splash. Okay, so they removed the less damage multiplier. That's pretty good. Overwhelm now increases stun duration against all enemies, regardless of life, by 100%. Grants cannot be stunned. Nice. People named Grant would be happy. No, I'm kidding. Endless Hunger no longer prevents life leech effects from being removed when you reach full life. Instead grants immune to bleeding while leeching. Nice. That's cool. Brutal Fervor no longer grants cannot be stunned while leeching or immune to bleeding while leeching. Instead now grants 30% increased damage while leeching, and life leech effects are not removed at full life. Okay, that's cool. Nice. So, yeah, okay. Chieftain, Forest Strength. I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce these names. Anyway, Forest Strength. Small passive leading to the notable now grants 15% increased endurance charge duration rather than 20 to strength. The notable has been completely reworked and now grants 0.5% of maximum life regeneration per second per endurance charge when you or your totems kill a burning enemy. Nice. 20% chance for you and your totems to each gain an endurance charge and 6% increased fire damage per endurance charge. Not bad. Ramako Sun's Light. No longer requires that you take Namahu Flame's Advance. Instead requires Tauha Forest Strength. The small passive leading to the notable no longer grants 10% increased fire damage and instead grants 15% increased endurance charge duration. The notable has been completely reworked and now grants 100 to fire resistance. Wow. 1% of life regenerated per section. 10% of physical damage taken from hits as fire damage. So, Righteous Fire. 2% of life regenerated per second if you've taken fire damage from a hit recently. Unaffected by Ignite. Yeah, that seems like just Righteous Fire in a nutshell right there. Namahu Flame's Advance has been completely reworked. It now grants 50% of physical damage converted to fire damage. Whoa, free Avatar of Fire, that's nuts. Damage penetrates 10% fire resistance and every 10 seconds gains 70% of fizz damage as extra fire damage for 3 seconds. Whoa, that's strong. Dude, that's insane. Holy crap. Hinakura Death's Fury no longer causes damage to penetrate 10% fire resistance. No longer grants 20% of fizz damage as extra fire damage if you or your totems have killed recently. Now grants 10% increased strength, 10% chance to cover a rare or unique enemy in Ash for 10 seconds on hit. I think that's like 20% more fizz and fire damage taken, or maybe just fire damage. It's nuts. That's really good. That's nice. Free Zoph's Blood. Can't be bad. Juggernaut. Unstoppable. Now also grants cannot be stunned. Undeniable. Now also grants accuracy rating equal to your strength. 30% increased accuracy rating if you've dealt a critical strike in the past 8 seconds. And 30% increased damage if you've dealt a critical strike in the past 8 seconds. That's nice. That's hell good actually. Unflinching. The small passive leading to the notable now grants 18% increased endurance charge duration rather than 12% increased attack damage. The notable now also grants a 25% chance that if you would gain endurance charges, you instead gain up to your maximum number of endurance charges, and gain an endurance charge every second if you've been hit recently. Nice, that's an interesting change for sure. I like it. See how it goes anyway. Unyielding now requires unflinching. The small passive leading to the notable now grants 20% increased stun duration rather than 0.5 life regenerated per second. The notable has been completely reworked and now grants 5% increased damage per endurance charge, 5% increased area of effect per endurance charge, 25% chance to gain an endurance charge when you stun an enemy, and 10% increased stun duration on enemies per endurance charge. Not bad. I don't know if there are many like viable stun builds though, but that's just in my experience, so who knows. Unrelenting no longer grants 6% increased damage per endurance charge or 25% chance that if you would gain an endurance charge, you instead gain up to your maximum number of endurance charges. It now grants +4 to chaos resistance per endurance charge and 1% additional fizz damage reduction per endurance charge. Okay, so Unrelenting basically got gutted. Feels bad, I think. Yeah. Anyway, Unbreakable no longer grants cannot be stunned. It now grants 2% of life regenerated per second, 5% reduced damage taken, and 1.5% of total physical damage prevented from hits in the past 10 seconds is regenerated as life per second. That's really nice. So if you're against like Zara or something and you're farming lab and you're just like getting wailed on, your life regen's gonna be through the roof. It doesn't even have a cap. That's pretty nice. That's a good change. Berserker. This is a big one too. I wonder if it's been nerfed. Added a new mechanic, Rage. Maximum rage is 50. You lose 1 rage every 0.5 seconds if you have not been hit or gained rage recently. That's pretty nice. What does it do? You gain 1% increased attack damage per 1 rage. So up to 50% increased attack damage. 1% increased attack speed per 2 rage, so 25% attack speed. And 1% increased movement speed per 5 rage, so 10%. Is that right? Yeah, 10% increased move speed. Lose 0.1% of your maximum life per second per 1 rage. I feel like that should have just been made Blood Rage. Give you some frenzy charges, like why not? If that was just made Blood Rage, that would be really sick. Anyway, Warbringer now also grants 5 rage when you use a Warcry. Okay. Crave the Slaughter has been completely reworked. It now grants 1 rage when you kill an enemy and 10% chance to gain 1 rage when you hit a rare or unique enemy. Rite of Ruin now requires Crave the Slaughter. So they've shuffled it around, I guess. The small passive leading to the Notable now grants 6% increased attack speed rather than 14% increased armor. Nice. The Notable has been completely reworked and now doubles the effects granted by rage, and you cannot be stunned while you have at least 25 rage. That's pretty nice. Don't mind that. So I'm assuming this part isn't affected. Like surely you wouldn't lose more life, but I'm assuming you would get like double the bonuses, which is nice. Aspect of Carnage no longer requires Crave the Slaughter, so Aspect of Carnage is a 2-pointer now. Not bad at all. Anyway, Inquisitor, this is the big one I'm thinking is gonna get nerfed, hey, like honestly, but we'll see. Sanctifier now grants a 10% chance to create Consecrated Ground when you hit a rare or unique enemy lasting 8 seconds. The Consecrated Ground is created under you. Okay. Pious Path now makes you immune to elemental ailments while on Consecrated Ground, rather than cannot be affected. Seems like the same thing to me. I don't know about you guys, but so like essentially they got 10% chance to create Consecrated Ground when you hit an enemy. Okay. That's alright, at least it didn't get nerfed, I guess. So, Guardian. Sanctify now grants a 10% chance to create Consecrated Ground when you hit a rare or unique enemy lasting 8 seconds. Okay, so exactly the same for Guardian. Pious Path. Now, wait. They've put the same thing under... Oh, wait, what? Guardian. Okay, never mind. They wrote it twice, see? Anyway, Harmony of Purpose now grants 10% chance to gain a power, frenzy, and endurance charge on hit. That's really nice for sure. No longer grants 5% physical additional block chance. Now grants 50% additional block chance for 2 seconds, up from 1 every 5 seconds. And if you've blocked in the past 10 seconds, you and nearby allies cannot be stunned. Whoa, that's huge. Also grants you and nearby allies 10% chance to block attacks if you've attacked recently, and 10% chance to block spells if you've cast a spell recently. Not bad. Buffs for Guardian. Feels good. Hierophant. Sanctuary of Thought now grants 10% less mana reservation of skills. That's really nice. Quality of life. Illuminated Devotion. The small passive leading to the Notable now grants 10% increased spell damage rather than area damage. Okay. The Notable has been completely reworked and now grants 25% increased area of effect while you have Arcane Surge. 0.5% of spell damage leeches life while you have Arcane Surge. That's wicked, some spell leech. Hell yeah. And 40% increased spell damage while you have Arcane Surge. Added a new Notable, Arcane Blessing. Grants Arcane Surge when you and your totems hit an enemy with a spell, and causes you to be immune to elemental ailments while you have Arcane Surge. Arcane Surge gained this way grants 10% more damage, 10% increased cast speed, and 0.5% maximum mana regenerated per second for 4 seconds. Nice. Conviction of Power now grants 50% chance to gain a power charge when you place a totem, 5% reduced elemental damage taken while you have an endurance charge, And damage penetrates 5% of elemental resistances while you have a power charge. Okay, not bad. I wonder if that stacks, like... Maybe it stacks, like, you know, if you've got 8 or 7 of each charge, I guess, like, you know. We'll see. Pursuit of Faith now grants 100% increased totem duration, and you can have up to 1 additional totem summoned at a time. Okay. Ritual of Awakening no longer causes you to deal 7% less damage per totem. Now allows you to summon 1 additional totem at a time, down from 2. And grants 50% increased totem placement speed. That's huge. Causes you to regenerate 0.5% of your mana per second per totem, and if you and your totems regenerate 1% of life per second per totem. That's really strong. Damn. So you still get 2 totems. You don't get any of the damage penalty. You can also get Arcane Surge. Wow, that's pretty strong. Damn. I wish they would add like +1 totem to Chieftain though. Like, I don't know why they haven't. Like, it's a totem class. Well, meant to be a totem class. I don't know. To me, giving him a totem wouldn't break it. So anyway. Occultist, Forbidden Power. The small passive leading to the notable no longer grants 20% increased crit strike chance and now provides 18% increased power charge duration instead. The notable no longer grants 10% chance to gain a power charge on crit. It now grants 5% increased area of effect per power charge, 5% increased spell damage per power charge, +1 to maximum power charges, and grants you a power charge after you spend 200 mana. Not many skills like you could reliably get that though, unless it's like a mine. Anyway, Profane Bloom, the small passive leading to the notable no longer grants 15% increased curse duration and instead grants 5% increased effect of your curses. The notable no longer causes cursed enemies you curse to take 10% increased damage. Instead, your curses can apply to hexproof enemies, and cursed enemies have a 25% chance to explode, up from 20%, dealing a quarter of their life as chaos damage. That's really nice. Hexproof. I always wondered why that wasn't a thing, but hexproof is OP, dude. That's sick. Oh my god, makes me want to make an occultist now. Malediction. The small passive leading to the notable no longer grants 15% increased curse duration and instead grants curse effect, 5%. The notable now grants 15% increased effect of your curses. So, wow, lots of curse effect. And curse enemies you curse have malediction. Enemies with malediction deal 10% reduced damage and take 10% increased damage. Wow, 10% more damage. Feels good. When you kill an enemy, the notable now also grants 8% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage for 4 seconds for each curse on that enemy. Damn, okay. Void Bacon now grants nearby enemies to have 100% reduced life regeneration rate. Okay. I don't know of many enemies that have life regen though. Unless you're doing like PvP. But anyway. Vile Bastion now grants 150 to max energy shield and 1% energy shield regenerated per second, up from 0.5 for each enemy you and your minions have killed recently. And your minions. Okay. Up to 30%. Previously no limit. You can... Okay, so they put a cap on it. But you get 150 free energy shield for free. Because that wasn't on there before. It's also doubled, so it's essentially like having 60 stacks anyway, which was like pretty much... I mean, that was a good cap. Like, if you could hit 60, that's a lot of energy shield regen. And you now cannot be stunned while you have energy shield. Holy crap. Occultist, dude. OP! That's like Deadeye territory. Whoa. Dude, that's insane. Okay. Added a new notable for Necromancer called Puppet Master. It grants you 20% increased minion movement speed, 30% increased minion duration, 12% increased attack and cast speed for your minions if you and your minions have killed recently, and 30% increased minion damage if you've used a minion skill recently. Damn, that's nice. Beacon of Corruption has been removed and replaced by a new notable, Invoker. Grants your minions 20% increased maximum life, 20% increased damage, 2% life regenerated per second, and grants you 50% increased convocation cooldown recovery speed. Nice. That's nice quality of life there. Fleshbinder now requires Invoker. Causes your raised zombies to spread Caustic Cloud on death, dealing 50% of their maximum life as chaos damage per second. Whoa, okay. Gives your raised zombie slam attack 100% increased area of effect and 100% increased cooldown and recovery speed. Allows you to raise up to 2 additional zombies. Whoa. Dude. That's nuts. So you basically get the Dead Reckoning Jewel for free. Okay. And then I guess you could use Dead Reckoning as well, and it would just be like slams, just... Okay. Soul Weaver no longer requires Fleshbinder and now requires Invoker. Okay, so they've shifted things around again. Okay. Spirit Eater has been removed and replaced by Bone Sculptor, which causes your skeletons to deal 40% increased damage. Also grants 100% increased skeleton movement speed, plus 2 to max number of skeletons. Causes you to summon 2 additional skeleton warriors with summon skeleton, and causes your skeleton's hits to not be evaded. Whoa, okay. Free Lycosity for everyone! Mistress of Sacrifice now causes your offerings to have 50% reduced effect on you. Aww. Now grants 40% increased damage if you've consumed a corpse recently, and 2% increased attack and cast speed for each corpse consumed recently. Okay, well that's not bad. That's not that bad. I mean, it's pretty rough. Like, Flesh Offering was really nice for clear speed, but I mean, you're kind of getting Flesh Offering here anyway. So it'll open up more, you know, you could use Bone Offering and still not feel bad about it, or Spirit Offering, for instance. Elementalist. This is the one I was most keen to see, because I really hope they just gave it the fattest amount of ignite damage you've ever seen. Oh my god, please be good. Pendulum of Destruction now longer grants both 100% increased elemental damage and 25% increased area of effect simultaneously for 4 seconds every 10 seconds. And instead grants 75% increased area of effect, followed by 75% increased elemental damage each for 5 seconds consecutively with no downtime. Okay, that's not bad. Kind of good for Flame Blast or something? I don't know. Mastermind of Discord has been completely reworked. It now causes you to penetrate 25% of cold resistance while you have Herald of Ice, 25% fire resistance while affected by Herald of Ash, and 25% lightning resistance while you're affected by Herald of Thunder. It also increases the effect of Heralds on you by 25% and reduces the mana they reserve by 25%. Whoa, okay. You could do like multiple Heralds and get a bunch of pen and stuff. Cool. Shaper of Desolation. The small passive leading to the notable now grants 5% increased chance, 5% chance to free shock and ignite up from 3%. Beacon of Ruin. The small passive leading to the notable now grants 5% chance to free shock and ignite up from 3%. The notable now causes chills from your hits to always slow by at least 10%, and shocks from your hits to always increase damage taken by at least 20%. Okay. Liege of the Primordial no longer grants 40% increased damage of each damage type for which you have a matching golem, or 100% increased effect of buffs granted by your golems. It now grants 20% increased damage for each summoned golem, and 25% increased effect of buffs granted by your golems for each summoned golems. Okay, so yeah, it's fair enough. Added a new notable, Elemancer, which grants 20% increased golem damage for each golem you have summoned, and prevents you from being chilled or frozen while you have an ice golem summoned, ignited while you have a flame golem summoned, and shocked while you have a lightning golem summoned. It also allows you to summon up to 1 additional golem at a time. Not bad. That's weird though. That's like 4 points for minions, and then that's it. Like your other 4 points are basically wasted. Like, what's the point of that? That seems dumb. So you basically got half an ascendancy here based on using golems, and then the other half based on doing elemental damage yourself. And it's like, there's no synergy between the two. If they made it so that these bonuses or something also could be affected by these golems, like maybe it would be like, makes sense. Why don't they just scrap this niche build from the Ascendancy, put it on Necromancer or something, and give us ignite damage? Like, do some ignite stuff, because we want ailments, we don't want freaking golems. Alright, the Scion, let's go. I bet this is actually huge. Okay, it's pretty big, yeah, but I'm hoping there's some good changes in here, so it's not just Deadeye. Okay. Necromancer. No longer grants you and your minions 4% physical damage reduction. No longer grants you and allies 30% increased damage, or 22 chaos resistance, while affected by auras you cast. Now grants your minions 30% increased damage, that's nice. Causes your offering skills to also affect you at 50% reduced effect, which is really nice. And causes your auras you cast to grant 3% increased attack and cast speed to you and allies. Nice, okay, that's better for sure. Just minion damage, like, mate, so good, okay. Occultist no longer grants 20% increased max energy shield or 20% increased damage if you've killed an enemy recently. No longer causes enemies you curse to have 15 chaos resistance. Now grants 1.5% increased energy shield regeneration per second. 10% increased effect of your curses, which is nice. Cannot be stunned while you have energy shield, that's huge. And enemies can have 1 additional curse. Wow, nice. If they put hexproof on that, like, as well, damn, that would be really good. Elementalist no longer grants 50% reduced reflect or elemental conflux for 6 seconds when you kill a rare or unique enemy. Now makes you unable to take reflected elemental damage, which is really nice. Causes your damage to penetrate 10% of enemy elemental resistances, up from 6%. And causes shocks from your hits to always increase damage taken by at least 10%. So half the Elementalist, I think. Also grants 40% increased effect of heralds on you. Nice, not bad. And allows you to summon an additional golem at a time. I don't know why Elementalist is just pure golem. Like, oh, I just want ignites, man. Like, anyway, Assassin no longer grants plus 40 to crit strike multiplier against enemies that are on full life. 20% chance to gain a power charge on hit against enemies on full life, or causes critical strikes to maim enemies with attacks. It now grants plus 1 to critical strike chance, down from 1.5, so they nerfed that, which was like the only reason you would go Assassin as a Assassin as a Scion. But anyway, 10% chance to gain a power charge on crit, it's not bad. 40% chance to poison on hit, 10% increased movement speed, and causes damage from your critical strikes to not be reflected. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay. Saboteur has been completely reworked and now grants 30% increased area of effect, 1% increased 1% life regenerated per second for each of your mines detonated recently, up to 20%. 1% life regenerated per second for each of your traps, triggered recently, up to 20%. And 25% chance to blind enemies on hit. Okay. Still seems weak, like there's no damage here. Trickster no longer grants 20% more chance to evade and 20% increased damage while not on full energy shield. It now grants 15% chance to gain a frenzy or power charge on kill. That's nice. Also grants your hits to have a 15% chance to gain 50% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage, and prevents you from being stunned if you haven't been hit recently. Damn, okay. Pathfinder no longer grants 50% chance to gain a flash charge when you deal a crit, or 30% increased damage during any flask effect. Now grants 10% increased attack speed during any flask effect, and 15% chance for your flask to not consume charges, up from 10%. Causes your flask to gain 3 charges every 3 seconds, and causes your damage to penetrate 6% of enemy elemental resistances. It's not bad. I think if they would have kept like the where is it? Just the 30% increased damage, like would have been good. Deadeye no longer grants 30% increased projectile speed. Now grants 100% increased accuracy rating and prevents you from taking extra damage from bleeding while moving. Okay. Oh, I wanted the projectile speed though. Damn. Raider now also grants 20% attack damage. Okay, that's good. Probably needed that, to be honest. Champion no longer causes you and nearby allies to deal 30% increased damage while you have Fortify, and no longer reduces damage taken from taunted enemies by 5%. Now grants a 10% chance to Fortify on melee hit, down from 20%, and 25% chance to taunt on hit, up from 20%. Why would they nerf that? Causes you and nearby allies to have 8% increased movement speed. Your hits to permanently intimidate enemies that are on full life. I think that's 10% more damage taken, attack damage taken or something. And causes enemies you taunt to take 10% increased damage. Okay, so 20% more damage there, I'm guessing. Oh no, intimidate just means they do less damage, I think. From memory. Anyway. Gladiator no longer grants 5% additional block chance, or 30% increased damage if you've killed a bleeding enemy recently. Now grants +3 to max block chance, 10% chance to blind with hits against bleeding enemies, and 15% more damage with bleeding. Causes your attacks to have a 25% chance to cause bleeding, up from 20%, and 50% of your block chance apply to spells, up from 30%. It's not bad. More bleed damage is really nice. So I'm not sad about that one. Slayer no longer grants 50% reduced reflect fizz damage taken, 40% increased damage against rare and unique enemies, or causes your damaging hits to always stun enemies that are on full life. Now grants Culling Strike, which is 10% more damage, 20% increased damage while leeching, 20% increased area of effect if you've killed recently, and prevents you from taking reflect fizz damage. Okay, that's pretty nice actually. Slayer's not bad. Juggernaut no longer grants 30% increased armor or 20% chance to gain an endurance charge when you are hit. No longer prevents you from being stunned while at maximum endurance charges. Now grants 1,000 to accuracy rating, 5% increased damage per endurance charge, an endurance charge every second if you've been hit recently. I'm assuming that's gain, but anyway. And prevents you from being stunned, regardless of how many endurance charges you have. Nice, that's cool. Chieftain has been completely reworked and now grants 2% of life regenerated per second, 10% increased strength, 1% of damage dealt by your totems leached to you as life, and 10% chance to cover rare or unique enemies in ash for 10 seconds when hit. Okay, nice. Berserker no longer grants 1% of damage leached as life if you've killed recently, or 20% increased attack, cast, and movement speed if you've taken a savage hit. Now grants 2% of attack damage leached as life and mana if you've killed recently. One rage when you kill an enemy, and prevents you from being stunned while you have at least 25 rage. Okay. For more information on rage, see Berserker Ascendancy class changes above. Okay. Hierophant no longer allows skills in your helm to be able to have up to 1 additional totem summoned at a time. No longer grants 10% of max mana as extra maximum energy shield, or 50% chance to gain a power charge when you place a totem. Now allows you to have 1 additional totem summoned at a time, regardless of location. Okay, that's good. Grants Arcane Surge when you or your totems hit an enemy with a spell, and 20% increased spell damage while you have Arcane Surge. Causes 8% of damage to be taken from mana before life. That's really nice. That's a nice node. Okay. Guardian no longer grants you and allies affected by your auras to have 5% additional block chance and 10% increased attack speed, cast, and move speed. Now grants 10% increased effect of non-curse auras you cast. Auras causes auras you cast to grant 1 phys damage reduction to you and allies, and every 5 seconds you regenerate 20% of your maximum life over 1 second. That's really good. That's decent for sure. You could do RF with this. Anyway, so Inquisitor has been completely reworked and now grants 30% to critical strike multiplier against enemies that are affected by elemental ailments, 10% chance to create consecrated ground, which lasts 8 seconds when you hit a rare or unique enemy, and immunity to elemental ailments while on consecrated ground. Causes your damage to penetrate 6% of enemy elemental resistances and causes nearby enemies to take 10% increased elemental damage. I wish they changed this part here, to have like critical strikes penetrate 30% elemental and resistances. That would be good. Then it would be like more akin to the actual Inquisitor. But anyway, so that's the Ascendancy's done. They're pretty sweet changes actually. A lot more build diversity should be opening now, like, which is great. So I'm excited about that for sure. Anyway, Zana League mods now available during 3.2. Level 2 is Onslaught, level 3 Bloodlines, level 4 Torment, and Fortune favors the brave. Level 5 Nemesis? What? It's not 8 anymore. Level 6 Beyond, level 7 Perandus, and level 8 Harbinger. No breach. No breach. So I'm assuming that's why they've moved Nemesis to level 5. Headhunters are blazing this league for sure. That's sick. And yeah, cool. Nice. I'm looking forward to that. You can now enter the control blocks in Act 10 for world changes anyway. The Weaver's boss room in Act 2 is now smaller, and it is now more difficult to avoid spawning spiders. Okay. Rework the layout of the harvest in Act 4. It now has fewer dead ends. Thank God for that. All versions of the crypt in Act 7 will now contain the Bundle of Woe unique monster. Okay. Disable the ability to click on Whalem's ship from the Brine King's Reef to travel back to the beacon. You can still talk to Whalem to return to the beacon. This was to prevent accidental back travel. The Mountain Hounds and Mountain Hound Alphas have been renamed the Mountain Hellions and Mountain Hellion Alphas. Okay. It seems like a weird, like, why change that? I don't know. It seems like unnecessary effort. The Mongrels have been renamed Ruined Hellions. Okay. The Viscous Parasites have been renamed Vicious Parasites, as they are actually pretty solid. What? Okay. Several beasts with the same names as other beasts but different behaviors have been renamed to make bestiary collecting less confusing. Okay, that's good. The tentacle versions of Goatmen, Rowers, Hellions, Avian Wretches, and Cobras are now called Elder Blessed, to differentiate them from their untentacled forms. The same goes for the rest of the tentacled creatures that come from Elder influence maps. Okay. Goatmen that generate endurance charges are now called Goatmen Stompers. Nice, I like it. Hellions with parasites are now called Enslaved Hellions. Okay. Crustacean snipers that don't deal cold damage are now called Rock Spitters. Okay. Crustacean snipers that do the swishy tail shoot skill are now called Crustacean Pelters. Oh my god. That was a tongue twister for sure. Cave crustaceans that deal cold damage are now called Deep Crustaceans. Okay. Crypt Weavers that can flicker strike onto you are now called Crypt Ambushers. Croaking Chimerals are now called Chimeric Croakers. All the frog-like chimerals are now also some variant of a croaker. Oh my god, this is so hard to read. Sand leapers that don't leap slam are now called sand skitterers. Rooster demons that can viper strike are now called rooster fiends. The unique beasts in the Chimera Guardian fight have been renamed to differentiate them from skills granted by Bestiary League unique items. Okay. The area in Act 9's Rotting Core with Sin is now called the Black Core. Okay. The Twisted Inquisitorium Valside area now resembles the Crimson Temple map visually. Okay. Prophecies. Added 27 new prophecies for fated unique items. These prophecies have no voice acting. Oh, they haven't done them yet. Feels bad. The Deadly Twins prophecy will no longer be consumed by maps whose bosses have been slain by the Elder or his guardians. Clarified the description of Thaumaturgical History 2, indicating that only triggers in Act 2. PvP balance. Lowered the T override used to determine damage of Scorching Ray to 1.5 seconds, down from 4 seconds. No idea what that means. Note this has effect on Hall of Grandmasters, as this takes PvP scaling into account. Okay, so Grandmaster farmers might know what that means, but I've got no clue. Bug fixes. There is a lot of them. Oh my god. Okay. Fixed instances of mismatched text and audio between Shaper and Zana. Okay. Fixed a bug where mods which augmented a map boss would apply to LD Guardian and Elder maps, despite there being no boss. Sextants that guarantee a Forsaken Master would be consumed on Elder and Elder Guardian maps, even though no Master could appear. The Beginner's Luck achievement description no longer references normal difficulty. Fixed a bug where Azaro's curse pylons would say they cast an empowered curse on death in the Cruel Labyrinth when they would not. Fixed a bug where Azaro's curse pylons would still use the old vulnerability curse when casting their empowered vulnerability. Okay. Fixed a bug that prevented the spell cascade from properly supporting the punishment cast. Okay. Fixed a typo between the flavor text for the dig map as spoken and as written. Okay. Fixed a bug where the Bone Royal debuff from Necropolis map was mistakenly displayed as a buff. Fixed a bug where placing a totem or trap linked with Stormcall, which has a skill duration reduced to 0, would cause a client crash. Okay. Fixed a bug where some bosses in Shaper influenced map would be fought before triggering the Shaper event, resulting in a weird behavior. Fixed a bug where Fairgrades would attack you during his dialogue. I don't think I've seen that. Fixed a bug on DirectX 9 clients where dragging a maximized Windows client would cause the client to crash. Fixed a bug where Perandus Mana would display incorrectly in the map stash tag. Fixed a bug where removing maps from the map stash tab and swapping the tab to a new series, the substashes you just removed maps would be visible but unusable. Okay. Fixed a bug where disabling the chat timestamps would cause the previous chat window next to turn white. Text to turn white. Okay. Fixed a bug where unique items linked in chat would lose the italics of their flavor text if you closed and then reopened the chat window. Okay. Fixed a bug where flask timer displays for hybrid flasks could appear too early if either mana or life recovery part ended prematurely. Okay. Fixed a bug where changing your support gems linked to a totem skill in a weapon while the totem was active would kill the totem. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was like not intended. Okay. Fixed a bug where the unique armor body, the coming calamity, was incorrectly snapshotting the reservation costs of herald skills. I don't know whether that's a bug, buff, or a nerf, but we'll see. Fixed a bug where Val Rain of Arrows and Bear Trap were able to stop players with the movement speed cannot be modified to below base value stat. Fixed a bug where your specters could vanish after a PvP battle. Fixed a bug which caused the Scion to not splash as frequently as other characters as she ran through water. Who notices these things, honestly? Fixed a bug where the Mirage Archer entity could taunt enemies. It can't anymore. Fixed a bug where the boss room for the Ashen Wood map could generate outside of the boundaries of the area. Wow, that's a pretty big bug, damn. Fixed a bug where the Elder could spawn more minions after Zana had appeared. Fixed a bug where the Stygian Spires could spawn too few monsters from the abysses they create. Fixed a bug where one of the Abyss Liches was using the visual effect of the other when opening doors. Okay. Fixed a bug where you could accidentally get yourself stuck in the factory boss room with movement skills. Rip. Fixed a bug where Unbearable Whispers 5 Prophecy would change an area's lighting under weird conditions. Okay. Never seen that one before. Fixed a bug where the Shaper's life in the Elder encounter would scale with extra party members. Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't realize that was a thing. That's pretty broken. Fixed a bug where player auras could affect the Shaper in the Elder encounter. Wow. Jeez. Buffed Shaper. Anyway, fixed a bug where it could become possible to access the boss room in the Ghetto map without a movement skill. Fixed a couple of map generation bugs that could result in weird 180-degree turns to get into the boss room. Okay. Fixed a bug where you could use any sort of fragment, including Shaper Guardian fragments, for the Val Orb vendor recipe rather than just use the actual Val fragments as intended. I don't know why you would want, that's an expensive Val Orb. Fixed a bug where, for the sake of DPS calculations, when dual wielding, the two attack speeds were average as opposed to using the attack duration. This would throw the calculation off, especially in cases where the two weapons had wildly different attack speeds. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Fixed a bug which could cause your map stash tab to become unusable. Huh. Fixed an overlapping display issue when your chat window in social pages were both open when you attempt to edit a note. Okay. Fixed a bug where you could permanently benefit from the Storm Barrier buff if you were stunned while channeling. Fixed a bug which caused the Elder tentacles to change color based on the player's proximity to them. Fixed a bug where the Shrine to Arakali in the Val City would become inaccessible. Fixed a bug where the bosses of the plateau map would sometimes not level up correctly. Fixed a bug where witches and shadows wearing Gruthkal's pelt would basically turn into stretchy nightmarish living taffy. What? Okay. Fixed a bug where some skill effects in boss fights would linger if you had left and re-entered the instance. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Fixed a bug where the northern forest in Act 7 could sometimes contain a Valside area that you couldn't interact with. Fixed up many inconsistencies, inaccuracies, and ambiguities in item and skill gem descriptions. Okay, that's good. We needed that. Hopefully it's like actually like, you know, like understandable for a new player. Fixed an instance crash. Okay. We hope you enjoy the Bestiary League. Thanks so much for your support. I bet that links to the supporter packs. Cheeky. Okay, recent changes. Ranger Deadeye. Ricochet now requires Fast Shot rather than Faster Deadly. Now grants 10% more damage with projectiles for increased... Okay, that's good. Zana League Mods. Adjure... Okay, costs 4 Chaos Orbs now. This is all in it already, so awesome. I think we're finished. Nice. That is great. I'm gonna try and put timestamps in the description down below, so if you want to check those out, you know, if it makes it easier to actually figure out what's where in this long video, yeah, I'll do that for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's obviously a long and quite boring video, but I hope you found it interesting at least to see what's coming. So I'm pretty damn keen for the league to start this weekend. I hope you guys are too. I'll catch you guys in the next video.